Have you ever seen it? The workplace bully who just seems untouchable. They undermine people, they create this cloud of negativity, and yet nothing ever happens to them. In fact, sometimes it almost feels like the whole system is set up to protect them. Well, it's an infuriatingly common story, and today we are going to pull back the curtain and see exactly why this happens.
And just to kick things off, check this out. This quote is from a former HR manager on Reddit. An employee does everything right. They follow the process, they file a formal grievance about being bullied, and what happens? Senior management tells HR to fire the person who complained, not the bully, the victim. I mean, it's just a stunning betrayal, and it perfectly tees up the big question we're tackling.
Right? This is the question, isn't it? It's what keeps people up at night when they're going through this. And the answer? Well, it's not as simple as just go tell HR. Because as we're about to find out, the bully often has this powerful, almost invisible shield that's built right into the way our workplaces operate. Okay, so to really get how the bully's shield works, we first have to understand their weapon of choice. And it's a weapon that thrives in this very specific legal gray area, a kind of blind spot that clever bullies have gotten really, really good at exploiting. So this right here is probably the most important piece of the puzzle. We all tend to think that if someone's behavior at work is awful, it must be illegal. But the law is super specific. For something to be illegal harassment, it usually has to be aimed at you because of a protected status. Your race, gender, religion, that kind of thing. Workplace bullying, though, it's often just hostile conduct. You could call it equal opportunity cruelty. And here is the absolute key. In the US, there are basically no federal laws specifically outlining general workplace bullying. This legal loophole is the bully's first and strongest line of defense. So let's just get a clear definition down. Look at that key phrase, persistent pattern. This is so crucial. We're not talking about a single rude comment or a boss having a one-off bad day. Bullying is a campaign. It's this drip, drip, drip of unwelcome behavior that just grinds a person down over weeks, months, even years. It's not about one big blow-up. It's about the cumulative weight of all the little things. And this metaphor it nails the experience, doesn't it? Death by 1,000 cuts. Each individual act, getting ignored in a meeting, a snarky passive-aggressive email, withholding key information, on its own, it seems small. It's deniable. The target might even be told they're being way too sensitive. But the combined effect of all those tiny cuts, it can cause profound psychological damage. And that very subtlety is what makes it so dang hard to prove and so easy for the system to just brush aside. All right, so the weapon is this pattern of deniable, technically not illegal hostility. Now let's open up the playbook. Let's look at the strategy bullies use to not only hurt their target, but to actually build a case against them at the same time. First, you gotta forget that cartoon image of some loud, red-faced boss screaming at everyone. The modern workplace bully is often what experts call a quiet bully. Think of them as a sophisticated performer. They are masters of what's called impression management. To their own bosses, to the higher-ups, they are charming, brilliant, and absolute star performer. Their toxic, abusive side, that's reserved only for their targets, usually behind closed doors. And these are their tools. These are the 1,000 cuts. Just look at this list. See how hard these things are to document? How do you prove you've been treated as invisible? How do you explain to HR that a compliment was actually a public putdown? The bully is systematically sabotaging their target's work, creating this environment of constant stress and self-doubt. And this is the truly twisted genius of their playbook. Because the target, who's under this immense pressure, starts to react in completely predictable ways. They get anxious, they might make mistakes, they start avoiding the bully, they spend hours writing down every little interaction just to feel safe. And now, from an outsider's perspective, without any of the context, the target starts to look exactly like the problem employee the bully has been quietly describing to management all along. They've literally engineered the evidence against their own victim. Which brings us right to the heart of this whole mess. The target is being systematically taken apart, and now they've been framed to look like a performance problem. So they go to HR, hoping for a lifeline, and instead they run smack into the system's biggest blind spot. It's the million-dollar question, right? If this behavior is so obviously destructive, why does it feel like HR is so often powerless, or worse, that they side with the bully? Well, it turns out there are 4 pretty powerful reasons this happens over and over again. Reason number 1,
And we've got to come back to this because it's the foundation for everything else. It's usually not illegal. A huge part of HR's job is legal compliance, protecting the company from lawsuits. If the bullying isn't breaking any specific discrimination laws, their hands are often tied. There's no clear policy violation to hang their hat on, and from a risk management view, the path of least resistance is often to do nothing.
Then you've got the high performer shield. Remember, the quiet bully is often fantastic at their job, at least on paper. They hit their targets, they bring in money, so management looks at this and sees a choice. Do we support this valuable, proven asset, or do we support this struggling employee who now looks like a problem? All too often, they choose to protect the asset and just write off the toxic behavior as a difficult personality or a demanding style. And this is a really tough one to swallow. We want to believe HR is there for us, the employees, but structurally, their primary role is to serve the organization. They're there to protect the company from liability and to help management achieve its goals. So when your complaint goes against management's interests, like, say, getting rid of a star performer, HR is stuck in a massive conflict of interest.
And you know, the leading experts on workplace bullying, the NAMIs, they put it about as bluntly as you can. It's not that every single person in HR is malicious. It's that the system they operate in is fundamentally designed to put the organization's needs ahead of the individual employees. And finally, there's this nasty psychological trap called confirmation bias. Remember how the bullies spent months creating a story that their target was incompetent or unstable? Well, by the time the target finally gets to HR, they are often incredibly emotional, stressed out, and yeah, their work probably has suffered. HR sees this distressed person and their brain subconsciously goes, see, this confirms everything their manager told me. The target's genuine pain gets twisted and used as proof that the bully was right all along. So, the system fails. The target is left isolated and unprotected. But the story absolutely does not end there. Because when you let a bully operate without consequences, the damage is never contained to just one person. It sends toxic ripples out across the entire organization.
And make no mistake, this is not a rare thing. According to the Workplace Bullying Institute, a staggering 22% of American workers have directly witnessed bullying on the job. That means for every single target, you have a whole audience of coworkers watching and learning from what they see or what they don't see in terms of consequences. And what do they learn? They learn that leadership won't protect its people. Trust? Gone. That feeling of psychological safety where you feel like you can speak up or take a risk, absolutely shattered. Your best people, the ones with options, they start quietly heading for the exits. And maybe worst of all, something called normalization of deviance happens. That's when this toxic behavior just becomes normal. It's just the way things are around here. The true cost of one bully is never ever just one employee. Which leaves us with one last really big question. If the legal system has a gap and HR's hands are often tied and managers are sometimes too scared to act, who's left? Who is responsible for turning on the lights? It kind of suggests that the responsibility has to fall on everyone. On leaders to value more than just the bottom line, on coworkers to be allies, and on the entire organization to proactively build a culture where a bully's shield can't even exist in the first place.